Please welcome our keynote speaker, Audrey Roy Greenfeld.
Hello, welcome PyCon Davao. How's everyone doing today? Good? Cool. So my name is Audrey, and I gave a version of this talk at the original PyCon Philippines 2012, the first PyCon that we ever had in the Philippines. But I've completely redone everything about the talk, of course. So the tricks that I'm going to present to you are going to make you a better coder and maximize your productivity working with Python. And these things are even more important to know in the age of AI, that it's not, you don't just have AI coding for you, but you have to know these things even more. So number one, I don't want you to rely on old slides or on old libraries, old tools. Python, even though the core is very stable and it moves slowly, the ecosystem moves so fast and you have to keep up. The way to keep up is by just relaxing a bit and being playful, taking risks. Don't be afraid to install new things, upgrade things, try new things, and you have to give yourselves time and freedom to play. That's part of just the joy of Python. So in 2025, there are the tooling for Python, management of Python on your system has improved dramatically. So my favorite way to install Python is with a tool called UV. And I'm curious, has anyone installed Python 3.14 yet? Raise your hand. Okay, good number. Okay, I'm impressed. That's awesome. For those of you who haven't yet, I want you to go look up UV and install it. And then in 2 commands, so the first command is UV self-update, where you run that, and that's going to update your UV to make sure you have the latest version of it. And then you type UV Python upgrade 3.14, and boom, you've got 3.14. If you're worried about all your other Python installations, it's no problem. It's not going to affect your other Pythons. They'll still be there. And yeah, and then once you get comfortable with installing Python 3.14 this way, I want you to look into upgrading all of the Python installations on your system to their latest patch versions. There's another command called UV Python upgrade. If you run that without the 3.14, it will go through your system and find every Python install that you have, and it will upgrade it to the latest patch release. So what we have here in a Python version number, there's major, 3, minor, 10, patch 19. And those patch releases, at the very least, you always want those updated because those have security bug fixes. Fourth trick, per project Python versions. So if you're running 3.14, if you've just installed it and you're worried about your work project breaking, you can create this .python-version file in the root of your project, your repo, and put the major and minor version that you want your project to run on. And then that will keep it on that version if you're using UV. Trick 5, upgrade. Once you're comfortable with that, I want you to take the next big risk, update all of the Python packages for your current projects. It's really important not to get stuck on an outdated stack. And it only gets harder if you let things get outdated. Sometimes when you upgrade every single dependency, things break. And so what you want to do is just carefully upgrade one dependency at a time. make sure it works, check its release notes. If things are broken, go very carefully one version upgrade at a time. Now, Python in the age of AI. So AI, I want you all to actually use AI if you haven't yet. That it is a double-edged sword. So you will fall behind if you don't get up to speed on AI, but you will also forget how to code if you blindly use AI and you treat it like it's the coder and you're not. So be careful. You can be cheap and do well with AI. I actually don't pay for AI anymore. I just use free quotas, and I'm insanely productive. And I like to think of AI as being my my teacher, where I could have it code stuff for me, but what's the point of just maximizing how much I build? I want to maximize my knowledge, how much I learn about Python. I'm selfish about my learning. Trick 7, free AI tools. So I use LM Studio a lot locally on my laptop, and Olama is also pretty good. I run GPT OSS 20B on my MacBook. Has an M3 chip, and it's it helps me a lot with basic Python stuff. There's also hosted models where you can get free access. So GitHub Copilot, you do have to contribute to open source to qualify to get it for free. If you don't, Quencode CLI is hey, sorry, my daughter is here. This is Uma, by the way. So Quencode CLI has a really good free quota. I use it. There'll be days where I use it the whole day, and I don't even hit the paid tier. Trick 8: teach AI to write better Python. So AI can also be your intern. So never defer to AI and treat it like it's the boss. You're the boss. It's your fast coding intern, and it makes mistakes all the time. Like, it sounds super confident, like it thinks it knows everything, but your job is to be its mentor and to define its rules. So if you don't know what rules to set, start with the content of this talk. I'll share the slides later. Trick 9, so to define rules, you can create an agents.md file in the root of your project. And an example of a rule is just a bullet point saying to run your Python project, run your script with uvrun main.py instead of using the system Python, whatever comes up at python3 main.py. AI often doesn't like to activate your virtual environment, so that can be another rule. And if you're using an AI agent that doesn't use agents.md, there's a tool called Ruler, an open source tool that will make it so it's compatible for other file names and formats. Next, be a Python minimalist. So in a minimal Python project today, the only files you really need, technically you just need a main.py and that'll just work. But you really do want to track your dependencies and have a little bit of config. So that's where you have your pyproject.toml file. And you also want a README, of course, for install instructions at the very least. So the pyproject.toml file looks like this. It replaces the old setup.py and requirement.txt files, so you don't need those anymore. The dependencies that would go into requirements files go into that last line right there. And then this command, uvvenv, is what I use now to create virtual environments. And it replaces all those different confusing tools that have been competing. The packaging ecosystem of Python has been a bit messy, and finally the dust is settling, and this is emerging as the clear best way to do things. So ignore the, if you see a project with outdated install steps saying the pip install, it's okay to ignore it and do it this way. So UV virtual is cross-platform and it's super fast. It has really good caching. Python libraries. Use pathlib.path instead of OS. Especially when you're using AI, it's always going to write code with OS, and the code is much longer. With pathlib, it's much shorter. It's one line, one block in there versus 3 in here. And and pathlib gives you object-oriented path manipulation. So this path object is manipulated by that's slash operator. That's chaining operations. And that slash operator, you might be worried about Windows, but that thing is cross-platform, so it's going to work on Windows too. Use typer today instead of argparse. Argparse is always, it gives you longer code and it doesn't have the validation, doesn't do as much. So here, on the left, using typer, we pass in that main function, and that typer.run automatically turns that into a CLI script where that file argument to that main function is the CLI argument. So it's shorter, you can see much less code, but also you don't have, here, on the left you've got validation of the argument coming in, on the right you do not with argparse. So, and not only that, when you run your Python script as a CLI tool on the left with typer, it's beautiful, code colored, got nice boxes. On the right, it looks a bit dated. Use PyTest instead of unit test. It's just much more fun, has a lot more utilities. Parameterization in particular is going to shorten your code a lot. Use rough now instead of black, flake8, isort. It will check for code style errors, and if you run it with --fix, it's going to actually fix those errors so that all your code looks uniform. That way, when you're working with a team, you're focusing on the actual content logic of the code and not just the way it looks. Okay, so type hints. I really didn't like them at first, until I realized working on projects with full type hints, I get awesome autocomplete in VS Code. So type hints power many things under the hood, particularly interesting. Pydantic gives you all that validation. So here's an example of a user model in Pydantic where you've got ID, username, and email fields that are defined. And here we are validating the data to make sure that's a legit email address. Notice how we don't have to write that code because it's got a built-in validator. Okay, type checking. We've got some really good tools to check the types on your code. Just gonna go a little fast. So modern Python web dev. We are just emerging from this time where our web apps have been very React heavy and gotten just very difficult to maintain. These days, you don't need to write such JS heavy apps anymore because HTMX lets you simplify that logic drastically, that if you can move some of that into Python, it's a lot more compact and readable and expressive, and you understand it better, your team does, your LLMs understand it better. So I am co-author of AIR, the new web framework with Audrey Roy Greenfeld, and it builds on a lot of our lessons learned. We launched AIR at PyCon Philippines just in August of this year. This was the first time we showed AIR on stage with a live demo. And so it is, it's your local indie homegrown web framework. It's, it's kind of like how your indie coffee shop coffee's going to be better quality than your React coffee shop. So we're all kind of relearning web dev right now because we're realizing that the old tools are very outdated and AI is teaching us a better way to do things. So I suggest just, humbling yourself, relearning web dev, and starting with something like a blog, even if you've been doing web dev 20 years. Build a blog, try it with HTMX and AIR. There's other frameworks that follow a similar pattern, like Fast HTML. So I've released this new book with Danny, which is completely free and open source. It's a gift to everyone, and there's an opportunity to contribute to it at the PyCon sprints, and it will, and yeah. So, and another thing is, web dev can be really hard, but like a really great opportunity to dive deep is right now, while AIR is young, we if you submit pull requests, it's a chance to get free mentorship from me and Danny and others. And okay. So Python scripting, UV run is with the script name. You can put your dependencies at the top of the script like that, and then you don't even need that pyproject.toml. So for little one-off things, I like to use an LLM to generate scripts like this. So like this one actually Uma generated it. It was a script that that plays Happy Birthday. Did you make this one? Yeah. Okay. She used AI to make it. So next, tricks to becoming a great Python developer, pair programming. Like it's really, really uncomfortable, but you've got a really good community. Figure out ways to find someone to pair. Make open source. And finally, code with a child that it's Python. We all do Python because it's fun and kids make you remember that. So here was Uma at the PyCon UK kids track. So she was doing MicroPython, and she, like, at the time she barely knew, she really didn't know how to read much, but moving the cursor around and like getting those LEDs to light up, like it just gave me this joy. And that's something that I really want you all to remember, that we're here not just because we might use Python for jobs, but because Python is so much fun. And find your inner child if you don't have a kid to find and code with. Thank you very much. Give back. So we're all here. This is a historical moment. I want you to all, if you're not involved with the behind the scenes with PyCon Davao yet, get involved with that, or PyCon Philippines, and step up and volunteer. Specifically, my friend Michaela Reyes, who's now one of the directors of PyCon Philippines, started out as an attendee here. So the next leaders are here, not even involved behind the scenes yet. So yeah, thank you very much.